into the channel. So happy to have you here always. My name is Deborah, owner of Purusha Holistic Wellness, and this is another episode of Purusha Intuitive, where we're going to look at your energy for the week via the tarot, astrology, and any channeled messages that come through. So let's get into it. Welcome, everyone. We are in the throes of Sagittarius season. It has been pretty okay, I would say. I mean, I think we've come down from a lot of emotion during Scorpio season. Lots of planets in water signs, and it's kind of been combating the fire energy. So there's a little bit of push and pull on our emotions, but there's also a lot of other things going on, right? Like, this is a busy time of year naturally. And so as much as we are seeing heightened tension in certain areas, etc., it's actually staying pretty even keeled. I guess I should better say, like, we can choose how much we actually want to invest in, like, what people are throwing our way, both good, bad, and ugly, right? Like, we don't necessarily have to go down a certain road. We can always call a timeout. It's actually, like, really appropriate to do right now. Take things a little bit slower. Mars has been tensely aspected, which I'll get into a little bit as we start the reading. I'm going to start off with an energy cleansing first, though, just to set the tone, set the vibe for the reading, cleanse out some places we might feel blocked or limited. It's a great time to set your own intention for the reading as well, especially if you've come in with something on your heart, on your mind, something you would like Spirit to deliver messages to you around. Definitely give that over. Be open to receive. Spirit's always looking to speak to us, to connect with us. I also do personal readings. I offer a variety of healing and wellness services. Readings are one of them. If you want me to look at your specific situation, how it's faring, where it's headed, or if you are looking for more of a realignment of self, your mind, body, soul, I do energy healing as well as Ayurvedic or holistic wellness consultations. When we are aligned in self, when we're knowing what we want, what we need, etc., and actually taking care of those things accordingly, that's really where we manifest our best life. That's where we feel happy, abundant, fulfilled, is really by that, self-love, self-care. And I would love to help support that in whatever way possible. Definitely hit me up. All the info to get into contact with me is in the description box below. All right, let's get into it. I bless you with pure love and light, pure source energy, pure loving grace. I release anything that is not for your highest and best. Any fears, doubts, insecurities, lack of worth, lack of value, pain, anger, frustration, impatience, overwhelm. Cleanse it and release it from our being so it may see and understand the messages clearly. Help to make me a clear and open channel for the collective. Thank you, Father God, Spirit guides, guardian angels, Mama Love. All right, I'm picking up this energy of maybe being a little bit overzealous around something, around a situation, something that, like, I feel, well, what I was hearing is that it's actually like splitting your energies. It's almost like you're going above and beyond, but it's not necessarily helping you, if that makes sense. It's tuning into where we need to be putting our energies, right? Like, we're at a time where there has been this message, and I don't mean to be overly redundant, but there has just been this message of, like, we really have to figure out who and what we want to invest in right now. this is popping up a lot for us beginning of the week as I'm recording. Mars is just moving into Capricorn. Mars is our action potential, and Capricorn is the hard work. It's kind of where we put our investments in order to achieve certain things, whether that's, you know, success, prosperity, abundance, whatever it looks like for you. But Capricorn energy reminds us that we actually have to do the work, right? There is that component. Nothing comes easy. Nothing is, you know, snap your fingers and it appears. Generally speaking, if that does happen, we don't necessarily see all the work leading up to it, if that seems to happen in that way, right? But more often than not, what I'm trying to get at is more often than not, there is some type of intentional effort that needs to happen. And this is being highlighted a lot in the beginning of the week. Like I said, Mars is a little bit tense. It's tense with Saturn, which rules Capricorn and is also, again, that value of hard work. But overarching energy, I love this. You're not just buying into the potential, but you're believing in the potential. It might not seem like very promising. So what I'm hearing on the surface. And I feel like that's kind of where Mars is getting agitated. Because like I've been saying on repeat, there is this message, this need to slow down, to be like, it's not like you have to move at a snail's pace. But when I'm talking about slowing down, really thinking through situations, dynamics, reading the fine print, making sure you're processing enough before you make decisions, big decisions, etc. Decisions that can be very life-altering. Because Mars, it can be a little bit arrogant while we're having the anima, which is that divine masculine energy associated to Mars as well. And if Mars sees an easier way to do things or doesn't really want to put in the hard work, it's also resistant to Neptune beginning of the week. And so there is this like lack of listening to our intuition, or especially if we really want to do something, it's way easier to kind of, you know, oh, that's not really anything. That's not really anything. But it can definitely come back to bite us in the butt. And that is, I mean, these are very different energies, right? Anima is that value of, again, like I was saying, thinking through things, being strategic to some capacity, having a bird's eye perspective, seeing things down the road. Like, how is this going to play out? Yeah, does it serve me right now? But how is it going to play out in 6 months, a year, etc.? Kind of having that perspective and putting it into play, right? But then when we're talking about spirit and magic, that is more associated with the divine feminine. And as I'm saying this, feelings and mysticism is popping up, or sensations, sorry, which is like feeling, right? The sensory, excuse me, let me slow down. The sensory inputs that we're receiving, right? What it's triggering in us. And this is kind of where we have to say, yes, like we need this masculine energy to make the right decisions for ourselves. But again, we want to make sure that we're not bulldozing ahead just because that's how we want it to go. And generally, if you just have a little bit more fire placements in your chart, I mean, this can kind of manifest in all different areas. But with that, Mars, the other side, the positive side of Mars moving into Capricorn is it basically reminds us, there's that sensation card popping up for us again, is it basically reminds us where it is valuable to put in the work, right? That we're actually are going to commit and see it through. And I feel like that's kind of what's working in your favor. That's where this potential is coming through, connecting with new option, like maybe not even new options, but reworking the options that you have. Well, I feel like, yes, new options, because even I'm remembering that Seeker card popped out, as well as the Page of Wands. And the Page of Wands is about, you know, exploring new territory, exploring new people, new situations, maybe things that, options. That's what I'm saying, new options around things. Things that you might not have thought of in the past. And I do feel like this is going to be something that's requiring your intentional thought, like I was saying, like actually carving time out for yourself to get clear on what this looks like for you. Because there are some people at play that might infiltrate or push back, is what I'm seeing. And, you know, just as in anything, we have to be prepared. And that kind of goes back to what I was saying a little bit earlier, that it's going to do you a lot of good to make sure that you are kind of covering all your bases in a certain situation, a certain dynamic. Something that actually is kind of calling you to be pretty resilient in a way that, like, we often see manifest in masculine energy. You're also getting, like, I feel like this King of Pentacles is Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn energy. And we have Queen of Swords. This feels more like you. This King of Pentacles feels more like someone else that's, there might be some challenges with beginning of the week. Queen of Swords reminds us to, again, have that really decisive approach, taking feeling, emotion out of it. Someone doesn't like that, though. They want you to have the feeling, right? And I feel like this is kind of where this King of Pentacles, whomever, whatever this is to you, this could be attached to family. We're nearing the holidays, or, you know, they're right on the horizon, and we could be dealing with a lot of people, certain dynamics that we don't necessarily want to have to participate in. And we also have to, like, get creative around how those things, how much we are going to invest in those things, especially if you are getting pushback. Or if someone's trying to force you, to act, behave in a certain way. This could just be someone who's, like, kind of used to having some type of control or power. It looks like you're going your own way, though. And I like this energy for you beginning of the week, because I feel like it feels good. Like, it's like you're making decisions for yourself, because that's what resonates with you. You're not doing it for anyone else. And someone wants you to. This King of Pentacles might be someone who's actually, like, lingering in the background, someone who hasn't popped up. That's been kind of coming up a little bit in our readings. I'm going to clarify who are all these players. We have a couple different people involved. Okay, Ten of Swords. It's not fun. Page of Pentacles. Okay. Someone who has their own financial problems going on. They're trying to get their stuff together, but this might be someone who just keeps, like, hitting dead ends. Like, nothing is working for them, is what I'm hearing. They might have had some plans to connect with you, or this is someone who just, like, keeps repeating the same mistake over and over and over again. And so, as much as maybe, like, they're trying to get better, it just isn't really translating in real time. And that looks to be why you have to kind of grab the bull by the horns, so to speak, and make decisions for yourself. Make decisions that resonate with you. We're a little resistant, like I said, to, like, listening to our intuition. And Spirit is coming up heavy as we're hitting midweek. Let me pull up my chart here. Sorry for my little fingies. Got a really bad paper cut today. So annoying. I don't even remember the last time I've had a paper cut. Okay, so midweek. Oh, I should also mention, I'm sorry. We have a new moon at the end of the week, and then we're moving into Capricorn season. So the energy, the transits aren't crazy. It actually feels a little bit nicer midweek. There's less tension. Mars kind of relaxes that energy. But Mercury can be a little bit of a spitfire, so communication might get aggressive. People might be a little intense. Maybe even trying to bait you a little bit is what I'm hearing. And Spirit's kind of like just really try to keep things really, especially if you're dealing with someone, a dynamic that's a little bit more messy or volatile, really keep things loose, expectations low. Like I was even hearing like Spirit's going to guide and direct you through that conversation if someone is trying to, come after you a little bit. Because that kind of goes back to where expectations can go unmet, especially around people or situations that are either like saying, especially if you've been in dynamics long term, let's put it in that first, like people who are maybe agreeing to certain terms and circumstances but aren't necessarily following through, right? Saying one thing, doing another, that type of vibe. Not participating in the relationship appropriately in the dynamics. We have the Lovers being blocked midweek, and someone's feeling left out, right? Someone's feeling like they're getting the shaft. We'll look into that a little bit more. The Ace of Cups has been coming up for us as well, and the Magician. So basically it looks like whatever is happening midweek, it's enough to kind of change your tune. It's enough to kind of be like, I don't really want to keep dealing with this over and over and over again. And this is where this Magician comes into play. I feel like you are going to get some messages. It looks like you're receiving information that's going to force you to kind of be okay, even though you might not feel okay. It's okay though. Like, I know, sorry, that's maybe not very comforting. But like I said, I feel like you have something to approach. It might not be an easy thing, but Spirit is going to guide you and direct you. Maybe you can't control what someone's saying. Maybe they're intentionally trying to make you feel shitty about yourself or like you're not important or whatever. And I think this is going to be a little bit of a shock, like I said, because going into this, you do have some type of expectation of it not going this way. But like I said, it just looks like someone's really not on board. They don't really want to work with you. And so you're like, okay, like I think it gives you clarity is what I'm hearing with this Ace of Cups. I mean, because the Ace of Cups, it's like cleansing, right? It's cleansing the palette, or whatever. It's washing things completely clean, giving you a fresh canvas to work from, so to speak. And you coming in as the Magician, as much as there might be some things that are happening that don't feel like it's working in your favor or feel a little bit more detrimental, it's forcing you to tap into your power, into your magic. I look at this as like the law of attraction, really kind of pushing towards how we want things to look. And this is that clarity is coming through this level of awareness. So we have the Fool, we have Queen of Cups, and the Strength card. Something becomes a little bit difficult. Gosh, dude. 6 of Cups towards the end of the week. This is where we get magic coming in. There's someone who really wants to make you understand. And this feels like a different energy. It feels like you might, gross. Sorry. Like there is some tension end of the week in the astrology, but like, honestly, I didn't even think it looked that bad. We go through to that new moon and on the 19th, depending on where you're located. And I really feel like this is a good new moon because it's since it's at the end of the month, we're having better understanding around where we do want to invest our time, energy, given the situations, given the things that are happening, like right in front of us that we can unfortunately no longer deny, right? Like when people are kind of being snarky or backhanded or not really giving, you that respect, that dignity, etc. And maybe you just can't avoid it because we get the Six of Cups, especially if this is family or just someone that you are connected to. It just looks like someone who is either not going away or is just causing some drama for the sake of drama, but they know you're going to be back around anyway, that type of vibe. It's just a lot of mess. It's a lot of... Knight of Cups is just someone who pretends, right? They pretend to have it together. They pretend to be caring, loving, all these things, but their delivery is very subpar. And with the Five of Swords in your blocked energy, it just means that someone like really maybe is even playing dirty, playing dirty to win. And maybe this is part of like what you're finding out midweek, and then you're actually seeing it manifest a little bit more readily towards the end of the week. And we move into Capricorn, so that makes a lot of sense, right? Because Capricorn energy is a little tough. It's doing the work for the sake of the work. And that's why it's really important to not negate what our intuition is saying to us right now, because it can save us some hurt, some difficulty. I'm hearing like recognizing where people are being a little bit half-ass, or not contributing in a way that they ought to be, that they should. We get a lot of just like immature energy at the end of all this. And yeah. Forced to make decisions on how you want to move forward with this energy. There is, I don't know, it's really weird. There's a lot of stuff going on. It's a really backhanded way, whatever you're dealing with this week, it's a really backhanded way to deal with approach relationships. Because someone, they want the connection, they want the friendship, they want whatever, right? But there's also a lot of arguments, there's a lot of fighting, there's a lot of immature energy going on. And if anything, I'm seeing this like need for you to, yes, like take that step back. I mean, I always think it's when we slow down, it's way easier to hear what our intuition is saying. That goes back to the very beginning, right? Like why it's so important, why it's so valuable to take time to process through things. Making sure that you're not being flippant, right? That goes back to that Mars energy I was talking about in the very beginning. And like I said, end of the week, it's not horrible energy. We see a little more tension surface, but because it's like hitting our ego, right? And actually, the ego is like against the intuition right now. So that kind of goes back to that challenge that I was talking about earlier. Rinny Tin Tin. Oh gosh, this guy. I'm going to read out of the book. I'm going to pull two more of these closing oracles. I hope you have enjoyed the reading. Oh, hydrogen. I love this. So beautiful. I love the, it's one of my favorite cards in this deck. It's a really beautiful energy as well. It goes back to that divine feminine that we were talking about earlier, right? Well, interestingly enough, beginning of the week, there's this more masculine energy, and I feel like that's how we're getting things up and running. That's how we're like getting the momentum, right? Figuring out where we need to be, what we need to be doing, etc. And then we're diving a little bit more, using our intuition, using that as the guidance, as the direction. Okay. Let's get into it. Sorry, I'm a little pooped out this evening. It was a long day, hydrogen. Okay. Give me a second while I look up where these are located. Okay. 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 10. Musical and mischievous, Tin is a trickster who succeeds in imposing his will only to vanish again into dust when his fires of inspiration significantly cool. He is most useful as a muse to more stable souls whose elastic creativity he strengthens, creating remarkable good fortune filled with generous gifts. This ancient figure, found through extraordinary alchemic luck, is a magical force, a liberator who opened the floodgates of controlled yet playful energy, revolutionizing civilizations by bringing his artful yin to their yang. Tin symbolizes balance, strength, playfulness, and creativity. And I feel like that kind of tags back to, just how we were talking about, right? Like there's a lot of masculine energy in the beginning. But as we're kind of moving towards midweek, end of the week, we want to dive more into that like lighthearted, not that feminine, masculine energy can be lighthearted as well. But balancing, that's what my point, right? Making sure that we're not too rigid, that we're not too strict on ourselves. And also kind of recognizing where someone might just be being mischievous or being a trickster about how they're handling situations. It really kind of resonates with how this energy is playing out of like, it's almost like you have to, I don't want to say that, but like you have to put up with the bad behavior, the fighting, whatever, because that's just like what you're supposed to do. And I feel like that's part of where you're just like not as into it, maybe, or you're maybe trying to get out of it, or like maybe this is just something you have to figure out how to navigate. Hydrogen is hidden in the heavens from behind the stars. The immense, incredible mythological fertility of hydrogen looms. Towers of miraculous creation from the heart of the dark and frozen cosmos, bulging with the unmanifested essence of all things. Out flows this formless purity into the light of stars, spiritual suns whose perpetual consumption is our birth. It symbolizes birth, fertility, infinite beginning, center, creator, mother. Maybe someone needs that energy from us. I'm hearing that this is like, you are kind of standing in that power, right? In that, whatever your gender is, masculine or feminine, there still is this, we have both of it, right? We have both hydrogen. Excuse me, I'm tripping over my words. Sorry. That's how you know I'm exhausted. All right. Looking at other options, being open to new ideas, it looks like you're going to have to be anyway, because whatever energy you're dealing with isn't, again, on board, or they're just playing games. And I feel like I don't know, it looks like it's shedding a lot more light onto what your expectations have to be moving forward. Okay, Xenon, let's talk about this guy. Is a heavy, noble medium, a strange spiritual entity in a somnambulistic state. I don't know what that means, sorry. who conjures the cosmos vital orbital breath with his mind streaming blue light. Mastering the inhalation and exhalation of the world, he gently moves into the subconscious, gathering all its lost memories, looking for the moment to return them to matter. Xenon peacefully lives in this unbroken eternity of renewal, detached from hostility and chaos, where the darkness washes over the heavens and gives him the freedom to see. He's a hermit, spiritualist, shaman, centered, magical. So I feel like it is kind of just that tapping into more of those magical energies. And we often do that, like I said, like through surrender. That's how we create. When we do slow down a little bit, when we do give ourselves a little more time and space, when we don't have to feed into the negativity, the fighting, even if someone wants us to, right? Like even if people, situations are trying to rope us in to whatever capacity, it looks like that's happening a little bit this week. This is stuff that, like, I don't know, maybe it does catch you off guard a little bit, and that's kind of where it becomes a struggle to rebalance, to stand in your power, to not engage, right? Because a lot of times these masculine energies can be really combative, right? And that's, there's a time and a place, but again, it goes back to the very beginning of what I was saying. Like Mars is asking us, is it really worth my energy? It might seem so on a surface level, but when we take that step back, when we think, when we process through, it's going to give us answers so we can disconnect from the chaos, and then we can therefore create from that space of like abundance and fertility and prosperity, right? Like we don't have to indulge in the chaos or the drama to get that, right? Like we don't have to figure that out. Actually, Maharishi Mahesh talks a lot about how, the only way to light a light is with light. So if we keep going to the dark side, well then, yeah, there's going to be a lot of dark around us, or people are going to do dark things or whatever. And that's why it's really important to like be mindful of who and what we share our time, our energy with. So thank you so much for your time, energy always. I hope you enjoyed the reading. I hope you found messages that resonated for you here. Definitely drop comments below if you did. I love to hear. Just say, hey, share, and a little love, little TLC. Please know I so appreciate all the love, all the support to the channel. It really blesses my heart so much, and I'm sending all the love and blessings back to you this week. Have a great week. I will be live again towards the end of the week. Stay tuned. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much.